Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project, we're going to be replacing a spring that broke on our garage door. Now, there's different tools you're going to need. I'm going to bring you in there. I'm going to show you what tools you're going to need. And then I'm going to show you something that's really important that you need to check, especially after a spring has broken, before you put a new spring on, only to find that you have a further problem. So let me bring you in there. I'm going to show you what's broken, what else is broken, and what kind of tools we're going to need, and then we're going to get this job done. So come on over and I'll show you what you need. Okay, so let's show you what happened here first, so you have an idea of what's going on. You can see the spring right here. You can see the spring has broken. Right there's a piece of the spring that's missing. You can see that the cables have actually came off the different pulleys right up inside there. All right, so we have the new spring, and I'll explain to you about that. But let me show you a real important thing that you really need to check before you go any further. Okay, so as you can see right here, that's the spring connecting onto that angle iron up there. Let me zoom in there so you can see what I mean. You see that piece of angle iron? From the spring swinging back and hitting that, it actually broke the angle iron. You see how it's cracked in there? And then you can't put it back together like that because it's going to fail. And that channel right there that the garage door opener runs on is going to wind up falling, and you're not going to be able to open the garage door itself. All right, so we went to a big box store, and I'm going to show you what we got. Here's an example of what we actually have to replace this spring with a new one. Now, there's different kind of springs needed for every application. You can see that this one here is white and is capable of lifting a door that's 110 pounds. And of course, we're going to do two of them. You never change one spring, you always change both of them. All right, now depending on your door itself, you may have a different color, but you'll need to know the weight of the door before you put the spring back on. The only thing I will tell you is don't always assume that the person who put the spring on before you did the correct one. You'll probably, the best thing for you to do is to weigh the door to see what the actual weight of the door itself is, and then you can tell right here what color spring you need depending on the weight of the door itself. Here it is white, and let me show you how you can tell what color spring was on there. You see up here? See how that's got white paint on it? So this one here, we know it was white. So that's the spring we have. All right. Next thing we have here is what you're going to need to replace it. You're going to need something to hold the door open while you're working. You're going to need an assortment of sockets. I know that this is 13 millimeter, so that's the one I have on there already. Yours may be a little different, but you'll have to try it and see. You're going to have a screwdriver like this just to get the eyelet off. We picked up some angle iron. And the reason we have these different kinds here is I want to show you. Don't buy the junk that they have in some of these stores. Notice this one here. See how thin this is? This is like paper. If you put this up there and you put a spring on this, this is going to bend like nothing. So what we did is we can have two choices. One, we could pick up a piece of straight angle iron that's bent at a 90-degree angle, and we can drill it ourselves. Or you can go to a certain supply houses and you can get the correct angle iron. Notice how thick this angle iron is compared to the junk at these big box stores. All right, so we have the correct size that we need. We have the sockets. We have our ruler or measuring tape, and we're going to go up there. We're going to open the garage door, and we're going to get started. Now, to open the garage door with the spring removed, you'll need to come over to the unit itself here, and you're going to need to pull this handle to disengage the door. Next, we'll push the door all the way open, and then we'll get started with that spring. Now, these springs, as you can tell, see how far outstretched that is? You'll never be able to stretch a spring. You'll need to open the garage door in order to put that spring on properly. Okay, so, all right, let's get up here, let's open the door, and we're going to continue. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to probably do this real quick. I'm going to change that one piece of angle iron right there that's broken. I'm going to take that piece of angle iron off. I'm going to unscrew those bolts right there. When I unscrew the bolts, I'm going to replace that piece of angle iron with the new one. I will tell you this, that channel there, once you disconnect it, it's going to drop down. So you want to secure it to something so that it doesn't actually fall down and get damaged further. So we're going to connect that up to the top right there so that it doesn't move. Let's take that off and we're going to continue. I want to point this out, using penetrating oil works really well on springs that have been hanging around on here or rusted for some time. So we're just going to take this out just like that. I'm going to put this up here for now, just temporarily. Next we're going to go up and we're going to take out this screw right here. You want to do everything pretty slowly because it could be rusted. Okay. Next we're going to take this cable out, we'll bring this down on the floor, and we'll cut it to length. Okay, so now we have our angle iron put up there. You can see it's all the way up to the top right there. We have it bolted back together. We counted the amount of holes from the bottom up to the top there so that everything lines up exactly as it was. Now in this case, it doesn't really matter on the top. As you can see, there's nothing up on the top of mine. You may have to cut that angle iron off depending on the application. All right, so now that we have that done and the door is now safe to open up, we're going to replace the spring. Okay, so the next thing we're ready to do now is we're ready to take this spring off of here. As you can see, it may not fit past that opening right there because this is a little bit too tight. So what we're going to do is take a screwdriver in here and we're going to bend this open just a little bit so we can get that spring out. You'll probably need a fairly large screwdriver. We'll just bend it like that, and then we'll take the spring and we'll pull it out. If it needs to be bent a little more, we bend a little bit more until we can take it out. Okay, so now our spring is off. Let's match it up against the one on the floor, and we're going to put the new one on there. Okay, we're going to hang our spring on here, just like this. And now before we put this spring on, we're going to run that steel cable right through the center of it right here. So now our safety pulley is put back on. Next we take our safety cable that comes with it. It's a new cable that comes with it. And we're going to bring it in right through here. It doesn't have to be real tight. Remember, this is just the safety cable. And then we're just going to weave it through all of the holes up inside here. So that way if the cable was to break again, it would actually hold and not go flying across the room. So we're just going to weave it through. Okay, and that's our safety right there. All right, now this is ready to lift the door up. So let's open up the door and we'll connect the rest of it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this bolt out right here that goes right through the pulley so we can get this around the other end of the spring. So we use a 1/2-inch wrench to hold the nut on the one side and the ratchet on the other, and we unscrew it just like that. Okay, we take this off, and now we'll go up and we'll put this here through the spring. Once we have everything up in here, we're going to hold this with the wrench in the back. We're going to come in here, we're going to tighten up this nut through this pulley. Okay, make it nice and tight. Okay, that's it. All right, so let's go over and take a look at what we did, and then we're going to take the vice grips off. I'm going to make sure the door works. Okay, so before we put anything down, we're going to make sure that it's right through on the cable is on that pulley right there, which it is. We threaded our safety cable through here. We have our S-hooks connected in exactly as it is on the other side. We then ran our cable all the way over to the pulley. We attached it on the pulley and tightened up the bolt. We have it connected on that hook up on the top right there, the one that we put into that steel. That's it. This job is done. All right, let's lower it down and make sure it works. Take our one set of vice grips off. Take our second set, hold the door just in case it comes down. Remember, it's not connected into your garage door opener yet. And now we'll just bring the door down to make sure everything functions the way it's supposed to. Perfectly. All right, let's go over it one more time and I'll show you exactly what I did. You can see right there, we have our pulley connected on, the bolt is tight, the spring is wrapped right through the end of the pulley. It's around on that other gear right up there. Our cables are connected onto the S pulleys, just the S hooks, just the way it's supposed to be. Hope you can see that okay. All right, we took this across here. We connected it up right to that eyelid that we put on there. Nice and tight. We have our safety cable on there. And that's it. And that's all there is to it. Now, the next thing we got to do is we have to come over here and we have to duplicate what we did on the other side on this side, because as I told you, you never do just one spring, you do them as a set. All right, so let's continue with this side. Okay, now remember, the first thing we're going to do, before we do anything, we're going to lift the door all the way up. We're going to lock the door in position right there. Do the exact same thing on the other side. This way we have no accidents. All right, now the next thing we'll do is we'll come over on this side and we'll change that spring. What we're going to do before we do anything is we have this safety spring here. We're going to take out this safety spring, or I should say the safety cable that runs directly through the spring, and that's just a matter of untangling it through here, just like this, and then that cable is finished. All right. Next, we're going to come over here. We're going to pull that cable through that existing spring up there. Now, you could use this cable if you choose to, but most of the time the replacements come with a new safety on it. So we're going to take this off of here. We're going to take this down and get rid of it, because as I said, it comes with a new one. This spring will be disconnected from here, and we'll unscrew it from right here. So let's grab the replacement. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to unhook this spring from this clamp right here. There's not much tension on it, so we're in good shape. We're just going to take it off just like that. Be careful with this here. You don't want it to fall and break anything. We're going to take our replacement, hook it on just like that. All right, we're going to loosen up this nut right on here. Remember, this is a 1/2 inch on this one. Yours may be different, but this one was a 1/2 inch. We're just going to break it loose, and then once we break it loose, then we'll take it out the rest of the way by hand. Remember, we have it hooked on like this, so we're just going to drop this off. We're going to get our replacement, slide it through our replacement, and then we're going to come over and we're going to put the screw right through here to hold this in place. So let's do that real quick. Just going to catch that just like this for a minute, and now we'll put that cable back on the other end where it belongs. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to tighten up this screw right here. Okay, nice and tight. Let's grab our safety cable and put it through. Next, we take our safety cable, bring it up through here, bring the eyelid up, put it right through the eyelid just like that, pull it in, just like that, nice and tight. We then take the cable and slide it down through the middle of the spring, right here, just like that, until it comes out the other end, of course. Okay, let's go down the end and we'll weave it through. Now remember, this cable does not have to be really tight. It's just to hold the spring in the event of a failure. So we're just going to bring it through here just like this. Pull it till it's taut, just like that. And now we'll weave it through like this. All right, our safety cable is on. Our other cable is on. The steel cable is now running on the pulley where it's supposed to be. Our hook is on here and our hook is on there. Next thing we're going to do is let's take the vice grips off the channel. and we'll make sure it works the way it's supposed to. Let's take the second one off. Let's lower the door down. Okay, let's just check our cables to make sure everything is set exactly as it's supposed to be. All right, our cable is through the eye hook, just like that. Our safety cable is through there, runs through the spring, down over to the gear right there, and then down over to the other gear in the back there, and the cable is on there. The S-hooks are both in place, and our safety cable is weaved through. Just like that. All right, let's re-engage our trolley, and we'll make sure the garage door opener works. All right, the way you re-engage the trolley is you just come up here and you grab this handle, you pull it up, and that'll re-engage the trolley for the garage door opener. Let's cycle it and let's make sure it works okay. All right, so that's it. The garage door is actually finished now. Everything works just the way it's supposed to be. The only recommendation I would make is make sure you lock that pliers on the channel so that the door cannot accidentally go up and down while you're working on it, because if it does, it's going to be a little bit dangerous for you. So make sure if you don't have vice grips, put a piece of wood in there to hold it up so it doesn't move. But that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next one. The only recommendation I'm going to make to you, too, is sometimes after you put new springs in, you may have to adjust the door closing and opening all the way, but it'll depend on the unit. This particular unit, we did not have to do anything. Everything works just the way it's supposed to. But if it did have to be adjusted, you will go up to your unit itself, and you would make your adjustments up there to open possibly further or close a little bit tighter. But I will attach a video to this, how to adjust the door, the height of the door from opening and closing, just in case you need to do that. But that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next one. All right, as always, thanks for watching. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me the thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.